channel if you're new here. I talk about nerdy things, Disney things, and board games. So it's been about a year since the last video I did with a live Q&A. But this video, I'm doing to be live. My phone doesn't have that much storage for some reason. That's what it is. Anyhow, get down to business. This video is about games that I've gone down a rabbit hole with. Now I automatically have a, well, I don't automatically have, I have a compulsion to complete things that I have. So if I have a board game, I like to have everything that's included. And there you go. I didn't straighten myself out before I started. And you know, if you've seen my channel before, I drink coffee. Pardon for the slurp. So this game, I have an acquisition disorder about collecting things and making sure I have the complete set. Some games I own, they have a couple of expansions, so I'll get those expansions. But other games will have continuous output of different things, LCGs, or say like different games, like they have a standalone where you can buy a mini pack that you can play with a couple of people, but if you have more of them, or you have the core set, you can add that in. I'm going to adjust you a little bit higher. Yeah, sound effects. I think that's better. All right, so I'm going to go through my list. I wrote a couple of list downs. You know me and paper. So first off, I'm going to say Lost Legacy. I have it in my Plano boxes. Not my Plano boxes, my Iris cases. Didn't want to fiddle out and stuff like that. But Lost Legacy is a deck of cards, 18 cards. Plays like a game like Love Letter, where you are looking for a lost legacy item. The first one had a spaceship. The second one was Green Gardens. Then they had a Vorpal Blade, werewolves, vampires. Each one you can actually customize your own deck using the cards that they have available to you, and creating your own deck of cards that you play with other players. I think it's up to 8 people. I could be wrong on that. But you're playing a card, putting a card down, putting it in the ruins. People can look at the ruins, or if they have a card that says they can look at the ruins, or shuffle the ruins, take a card from the ruins, that kind of thing, until they found the Lost Legacy. Different cards that were in the expansions actually were like detrimental, like they would actually do damage and eliminate players. So if you feel that cutthroat, you can mix those in. But playing the Lost Legacy, the Lost Ship, I think it was, that's what that is. So I'll cross that off. Beep, beep. The other one I was going to take out, but I don't have, the HeroClix. Years ago when HeroClix came out, they had DC, then they had Marvel, and this is a tabletop skirmish game where each base has a number set on the bottom. As you take damage, you are going to click down your character, unless you have like Wolverine, which on some of his clicks, actually you roll a die and you actually heal up how many clicks. But before that came out with Mage War. Sorry, Mage Wars. Not Mage Knight. Mage Knight was a tabletop skirmish game, and then they came out with a dungeon version of it where you actually had a map that you were going around. Your character would level up, defeating little bad guys, but the bad guys were like really weak, but you can still use them with the Mage Knight sets. You can create your heroes, saying you have like a 300 point system. Look at the bases, they had the numbers on them, and then here you go. That's a massive army using rulers that were actually with the game. They were like little plastic nylon rulers. When they came out with HeroClix for the superheroes, DC and Marvel. Then later on, they had Halo and they had other things. They came out with their own systems, but they all had the same click base. So I went down a rabbit hole with those, collecting as much as I could, especially Mage Knight. I'd go to the store, hey, do you have any more boxes? And I'd collect so many more boxes of Mage Knight. They had rarities and stuff like that. There was yellow, which is weak, blue, which was a little tougher, and then red was like the ultimate toughness. Comment below if you have a different remembering of that thing. Then later on, they came out with a Mage Knight game where you can actually use the miniatures of the old ones. The Mage Knight Dungeon, I believe you can use them in Mage Knight. The board game, which is a solo experience of going through a story and stuff like that. I could be wrong in that. Again, comment below if you had a different remembering of that. So those are off the list. Yeah, I have toolkits, toolboxes that are, the parts that you store, bolt nuts and bolts and stuff like that. Just chock-a-block full of that. Another one I have over there that I'm not going to pull out, X-Wing. X-Wing is another game where it is I can't say collectible, but it's, a skirmish game, space warfare, dogfighting kind of thing. You are assembling your team with so many points, as usual skirmish games do. And I found the game system amazing. Again, going down a rabbit hole of usually going down a rabbit hole means that you're searching the web for something kind of thing, but having to collect more ships to make, each side better. And then the Scum and Villainy came out. Then I had to buy more Scum and Villainy so that way, if we had like a 3-player game or a 2-player game, there was enough ships on both sides that would actually have enough points to have a nice skirmish game. Or you can have a one ship on one ship. The basic set the core set came out with 2 TIE fighters and an X-Wing, and a couple of cards that you can customize your things, make them a little puffier, durable, whatever you want to call them. So then I didn't want to go down. I'll talk about games that I didn't want to also go down and get the collectability or the yearning to collect more of the same. So Armada was a capital ship versus capital ship version of X-Wing. So you have larger ships, battleships, Death Destroyers. That if they came out with the Death Star, I think I'd probably play the game, but that ship would be like taking up like a half a room or something like that. Anyhow, I didn't go down that road because I was collecting more X-Wing. I preferred the skirmish version, dogfighting version of the game than the actual capital ships. They came out with the Star Trek version of the game called Attack Wing, which was a modified version for using capital ships for a X-Wing style. They didn't make them compatible, which would have been cool, but I didn't go down the rabbit hole of getting more of the Star Trek version of Attack Wing, or even they have a Dragon version or Dungeons and Dragons version, Attack Wing. The ships themselves, you can have the Enterprise D and the Reliant, and they're like the same size, and the colors were weird, like a lime green for some of the ships, a dark green for the Romulans, which was normal, but the size difference between ships was just way off. So I didn't go down that hole. X-Wing, Zombies. Zombies is a game that you are the base game. You're in the middle of a city or going towards the middle of a city, trying to find a helicopter pad to escape this zombie onslaught. It's a kind of similar to a cutthroat type game. You're playing cards to use to help you out. You're playing cards to hinder other players from doing their thing. And I got the base set and I was hooked. I was like, what? They have a school. They have jail cells. They have they had a standalone version of it was like Army of Darkness or The Evil Dead, where you were in a cabin and these zombie dogs were coming at you, kind of thing. And it was interchangeable with regular zombies, but you can also have that standalone, survive in the house kind of thing. Normally, you'd go through the city and you're flipping tiles over, revealing more of the city layout, buildings showing how many bullets or how many hearts you can gain. So as you're defeating zombies, you have to roll a 5 or higher to defeat them. But having extra hearts or using bullets would actually increase the numbers on your die roll to complete. Anytime you died or ran out of bullets and hearts, you take away half the supply of zombies that you had and return to the center of the map, which is usually like a fountain in the middle of the city. It was excellent game. Having more to it. They had Zombie Corpse. It was a army version, and they introduced the glowing or irradiated zombie, which was tougher to defeat. And then they also came out with expansions packs. Well, not expansion packs, but like if you needed more zombies, you can go to oh god, Twilight Creations website, and I can also do that. I can retro what I was talking about. So Lost Legacy, I forgot who puts that out, but if you Google it, you'd probably find it. Star Wars X-Wing was originally put out by Fantasy Flight Games, and then they switched it over to a second edition, which I did not want to do because you'd have to buy expansion packs that actually change the cards of the ships that you have already. Sorry if my microphone sounds a little different while I was doing that. Excuse me. Now I have microphones and better sound quality. Can you tell? Give me a thumbs up if you have. Yes. Oh. Then they just came out with different versions, but I also got a couple of X-Wings that had the S-foils version of it, but in the second edition, the S-foils actually had cards that would, change your thing, but you're in space, so having S-foils really didn't work. What else did I talk about? I talked about HeroClix was put out by WizKids, still is. Mage Knight also put out by WizKids, but that was 2000 and something. And am I up to date? Twilight Creation Zombies. I have a actual toolbox filled with zombies and all the iterations that they came out with, extra cards. And it's a fantastic game if you're into that. What's the other game that I don't have up here that I have? Concordia. Concordia was the first game I went to when I was September of 2016. I went up to the Portal store in Manchester, and it was the first Euro game that I've actually really got into. I mean, I've played Starfleet Battles, and that's another game that I went down, but it was more of my father buying a lot of the stuff when it was available in the hobby store. So that's where that came from. Who is Concordia put out by? Gran Rio Games. I had to get it, but it was out of print. So I actually had to wait almost 2 years or so until a reprint of Concordia was put out. I have two of the other maps, which they change, like Germany and England, or Germania and England, are better for two-player games, which I usually play with my friend Tim. Then I got another thing, but I didn't never picked up the salsa expansion, which everybody says the salsa expansion is the best. It introduces salt as another commodity or resource. In Concordia, you have a few people and a ship, and you're growing around the parts of the map, collecting resources like silk, stone, clay, I want to say metal, anvils, wine, something else. And then you're going to go around and actually use houses and take resources and create houses at those locations. So every time a card comes up that says you're going to get those resources, there you go. You have commodity on that. Anybody else who wants to build a ship on that, or build a house on that location has to pay you, kind of like Monopoly. So I came in dead last of the game. I think I had like 14 points, something like that, which is pretty darn low, because as you're playing cards, you are doing the tasks that are on the cards, and it's also a deck building game, which means that you are purchasing cards and putting them back in your deck, and then when you pick up your cards, you're resting, and you can actually play the cards with the new cards that you have available to you. So that was pretty cool. I think that introduced other games to that kind of deck building, where you have cards, you put them down, one card says, you pick them all back up. You can copy different things at the end of the game, depending on the astrological sign, I believe, on the bottom of them, or the Roman symbols that are on the bottom. You actually multiply your score based on that. And also, the first game that I saw, that the score track was around the bottom, or around the edge of the map. All the maps, I only have 3, but there's also like, I think 4 more maps. The box is already getting a little large, so having 6 maps altogether, I think I'm cut off. So that's pretty cool. That's it. So what made me write down this map, or write down this list, or make this list? I was listening to the You're Right Gamers podcast, and they were talking about games that you really like and you can't get to the table because you're the only one that likes them, or you like them so much but other people really don't care for them, kind of thing. So it's hard for them to get to the table. Also, I work with a fine group of people. I'm in the medical field, and a girl, Maria, was out and about. She was at Target, and she said, I know you like board games, and I just didn't know what to buy you, kind of thing. She didn't have to buy me anything. She bought something else for the other aide. And she bought me Villainous. This is where I'm going to start showing boxes. And then you guys like, man, my mind is all blown. I don't know what he's talking about, cards and stuff. Villainous is this is a standalone, which I was talking about earlier. So it comes with 3 characters. I know everybody's like, what did he just do? Comes with Titania, Doc Ock, which is one of my favorite characters in the Spider-Man universe, and what's his name? Kang the Conqueror. Now, having that thing, as I discussed before, I have to have all of it. Now, this isn't the first Villainous I had, but this is what spawned this video that you're watching today. So, I knew that there was a standalone, or a single character, Venom, and I said, I think I'll have Venom. Then I said, but I want Loki too. Well, am I just gonna... Now, I'll talk about the other one because I'm going to pull that out soon. The other regular villainous. But this is the first Marvel one I had. So now I have 6 characters, 7 characters altogether because Venom. I did it again. Magic. So that's what spawned this. And thank you, Maria, for making me buy more stuff. Yes, it's kid friendly. This is put out by Ravensburger. I want to say Ravensburger. Where is it? And some people say Ravensburger and whatever have you, but I think it's Ravensburger. Yeah. So you can hear some boxes topple because I didn't organize my things the right way. Yeah. Disney Villainous was the first Villainous I owned. It got a lot of traction when I was up at the Portal store. People were playing it. I was like, they're all playing solo game, but they're all fighting each other. Also, I played it during an Extra Life or VonnerCon. I'll put that out for you, Brant. Played it at VonnerCon, and it's got all the different villains from Disney. Again, each character has their own villain, as in the Marvel one. You are trying to complete your goals as stated on your card. Yeah. This helps it stay together so it doesn't open up and spill out all the junk. Instructions. Yeah, I had to pick up Oogie Boogie. Because, of course, that's thing. So each character has their own board. I like the Marvel one better because the Marvel ones actually fold towards themselves and have the character up here. Gives a little quote of what they usually say. There's spots on the bottom and spots on the top for different cards. You put your allies on the bottom of your hero, villain, whatever have you. Actually, your villain, because you're all playing villains. There are 4 icons. Each icon is a different ability that you can use. So as you're playing, if you have your mover, do I have my movers in here? You have a mover, and you're going to move him or her from place to place. And each time you move them there, you can do those actions, all 4, anytime you want, or whatever order you wish, I should say. And then you have a deck of cards that are going to be your fate deck, or your heroes that the other people are actually fading you. Fading is when you do an action on the board. I don't even know where it looks like. And then they take 2 cards from your deck of your heroes that are confronting you, and they can put one down, or if it has a special ability, do that ability. And they're going to be blocking these spots on top, which is really not good. So having your allies at the bottom can actually stop the heroes on the top having a little combat action. You are using power tokens to purchase your cards, that kind of thing. And that is Disney Villainous in a nutshell. You got all that? Not really. Shout out to Jonathan. All right. I have a few of these bands that are on some of my games, but now that I have these calic shelves put out by IKEA, I don't have to worry about standing them up, but I do have them stood up on the side of my thing over there. Next, what should we do? We'll go down collectible card games because that's how things go. Disney villainous, Marvel villainous. Back in the day, there was collectible card games called World of Warcraft, which took different hero classes, hunter, warrior, paladin, mage. My dad says mage. I don't know why. You are doing you're building your deck based on your main hero, so that's kind of cool, like commander deck and magic. And I bought a bunch of these because I was playing World of Warcraft at the time, kind of thing. Some of the cards that were actually in here, if you collected enough, were actual scratchable cards, versions of regular cards, common cards, I think. And you can go into the World of Warcraft and actually redeem these special items. So that was kind of cool. But again, it's like a two-player skirmish game. You can actually, this is the first game that I know also, which uses now that people are like, wow, this is so thing, like Disney Lorcana, which another game I'm not going to collect any of because of my compulsion to complete the collection. And it's also hard to find too. You take any card you want, flip it down. Oh, it's a resource. Now you can use those resources to get out your cards and that kind of thing. Where in Magic, look at this, kids. Imagine seeing this. What's the date on that? You are using lands to put down on the table and use the lands as tapping them to tilt them 90-degree angle, releasing their magic and casting your spells. Do the same thing in this one. Later on, they didn't want to back this anymore, but they made at least 9 sets, which was awesome. I forgot which one was Drums of War. First it was regular Heroes of Azeroth, then it was the Dark Portal, then Drums of War, then they started getting into other ones. But they didn't want to back these anymore because another set, it was Upper Deck that was doing it, and then later on it was bought out by, or started doing by Cryptozoic. But they actually still had the Upper Deck logo on the Cryptozoic cards, so that way you can use all the cards and not worry about which set you're using. Moral of the story, it's called Hearthstone, and it's the same style, but instead of Hearthstone where you're using random cards from your deck, which this is a 30 to 60 card deck, and Hearthstone, I think it's just a basic 30 cards. It's been a while since I played Hearthstone. It's the same game, just computerized, and that's sad. Magic, I'm still collecting packs at a time. Sometimes if I really like the sets, like Godzilla set was called the Ikoria, the Layers of Ikoria, and I got a booster box, which set me back like $60, which isn't bad. But if you're not new to the hobby and you know about collectible card games, there is a MSRP that's usually put on cards, and manufacturer suggested retail price. So when it's in a store, people say, oh, it's $15 SMRP, which means that a store will actually sell it for at least $15 or a little more. Now that Wizards of the Coast said there's a ban on MSRP, you can mark it up. I went to a store the other day. The set just came out, and a booster card is usually about 15 cards, 16 cards, and a booster pack. 15 cards? Yes. $300 for a booster, and the set just came out. And I'm like, that's expensive. So I don't know if this company is going to make any money, because they are trying to get you. I'm going down I'm rambling now. They're going to try to collect money from you for a collectible card that you might actually open up and say, oh, this card's worth $300. So now they're making profit on you, even though you haven't even gotten that. You can open up the pack and get mostly commons and a couple of rares and maybe an ultra rare, but that's a chance. You know, average cards, that's the average anyway. Crazy. So that was Magic, World of Warcraft. HeroScape's another one. I didn't bring out any. It's right over there. It's in like a crate box. Because I when I was at Toys R Us, what's that? I actually would go to Toys R Us and collect the flag masters of each faction, which those are the rarest to find. They came out with later on to boost it, Dungeons and Dragons heroes and creatures. So I have a few of those. I want to say it was something. It's on the tip of my tongue. Forgotten Realms. I could be wrong. And then they came out with Marvel, which that was it. They came out with one base set for Marvel, but it is also compatible with the other HeroScape stuff, which is hard to find. I hope they bring it back out, or republish it or something. If you play Mage Knight, the board game, or Magic the Gathering, what's it called? There's a Magic Gathering game, skirmish game, where you're playing as the Planeswalkers. You can use the same pieces of HeroScape and make these crazy landscapes if you have the pieces. Anyway, that's that. On the card games, Ashes, Rise of the Phoenix board. Another game that I enjoyed the base set, and when I knew that they were coming out with booster packs, you know, standalone Phoenix Born, I said, this is cool, gots to have them. So then later on they had canceled doing this game, and they came out with the Ashes Reborn. Yes. And I bought the box to upgrade this to technically Ashes 2.0, because there's fans that really wanted to keep playing this game, and they're like, we're done with it. We made enough. You know, the main guy who designed it squirted with another company, whatever have you, this and that. But it's another skirmish type game. You're rolling dice for resources, having them on one side of a card, casting spells, putting out creatures. Then you're using those dice, shifting them over to, you know, say they used them, kind of thing. So I have a couple of characters. I don't know how many I actually do. Summoner Wars. This is first edition. Again, they came out with your basic 6 that were in here, and then they came out with a Summoner box or a master set, which had 6 more. Every time you bought a set of Summoner War 2-pack skirmish thing or something of that nature, they were unique and you couldn't find them anywhere else because they weren't published in any other resources, kind of thing. Resources? Boxes. So I have, I want to say 20 factions. But the thing with this, it also has deck building where it'll give you in the back of the box where you can deck build. Same thing with Ashes. Ashes, you have basic sets of the Phoenix Born, but you can also shuffle up and make your own thing based on the rules that give you for making your own deck. This one too, you had you know, flunkies, well, uncommon cards that were, you know, it's like cannon fodder. You're building up walls. You are on this one, you're on a chess set, almost a chess board. I did it again. I almost did it again. So you're playing on a chess type board, You are using your cards as resources to get out your other things. The main goal is to destroy your summoner. Sound familiar? Same thing with Ashes. Ashes, you're trying to destroy your Phoenixborn. What else I got there? More card games. VS 2PG 2P2. I don't have my glasses on, kids. Boy's blind without his glasses. This is another game put out by Upper Deck. Plathead Game puts out the Summoner Wars and also Ashes Rise of the Phoenixborn. Now it's Ashes Reborn. Don't mind computer. I hit my mouse pad. And... What's a mouse? Anyway, we're not at that technology nowadays. I'm doing my thing on anyway. It is a 2-player card game, which is 2PCG. A different set of the Versus game that came out a while back. They redid it. I have in this box, I have like 2 boxes of this stuff. I also laminated my stuff, so it has the information of, you don't know if I'm looking at you or looking at this, the base box that would come, or the booster box, which would be just like a LCG living card game. We're going to get those next. It tells you how to basically make a set or a deck of cards. You can also deck build in this game too. Deadpool, thingy who's it's. They also have Mortal Kombat, but I do not have Mortal Kombat. Spider People, Spider-Verse. They came out with, each one was read like a comic book, so it's got like a comic book volume on it. X-Men, Shadow Kings, and more Spider People. The other box has aliens, predators, and stuff like that. Just a few cards. I have it colorized by sleeve, so I know what is what set. So when I reorganize them, but as you're playing, if you have enough of the same card, you're gonna say, "Oh, well, this one brown card is the Terminator," or whatever have you, kind of thing. Went down that hardcore. I wish the Summoner War box was a little tougher. A little tougher. LCGs. You know what I'm pulling out. You know what I'm pulling out. Lord of the Rings, the living card game, or just the card game. I have a few sets. They're called saga sets. So in the base game, you have 3 stories that you can go through. The third one is just bonkers. Like, you can't even follow it because I don't know why. They do have a second edition of this, which is the same set, just now with boons and advantages and stuff like that, which I do not have. But if I had it, I could just supplement the cards into this and use all my old cards as well. They do have starter sets or starter card packs of starting decks. So if you want to play as Elf Blue, you could. I don't know what his name is, but they have starter decks. So anyway, a saga set comes with 3 more stories, but then you have 6 other packs of living cards, which is a set of cards that everybody would have, even if they bought the same pack. It's not random generated or anything of that nature. You can just take it out and say, "Oh, well, this is actually a story of this, da 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 da," and it continues the story that it's in the main box or the saga set. So this one would be the Mirkwood expansion set, and you'd use the cards, create your deck of hero, have 3 heroes. Your deck would comprise of whatever their main background is, kind of thing. Going through the storyline, one deck of cards is a story that you're getting through, flipping them over. I hope you're not hearing a lot of scratching sound because I'm keep on touching this on my neck like that. Anyway, new microphones. Did I say that? Then, so I have that. Some people don't want to play with me because of the game's living a little swanky, but it's because it's got a set of rules for do this step, 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 do it. If you play the game more often, you get the steps down. I've been asked if I want to play with these with another friend, but I have not taken up on that offer. Then later on, they wanted to change the story up, so it's a battling game. Bow. Star Wars, the card game. Same thing, it's an LCG. So you have saga sets, or basically you can just take the 6 packs of one set of cards, like they had Hoth. All of them have like a AT on the bottom of the lower corner. You are battling your friend, ally, nemesis. So one person's playing Empire, one person playing the light side. The Death Star is coming in to the blow stuff up, which all the time, I don't get it. So what turned people off to this game was that, like, you can have Luke Skywalker fighting a Star Destroyer on the same page, and the Star Destroyer does little damage to Luke, but Luke can actually destroy the Star Destroyer because he's got special abilities, and I guess he throws his lightsaber at it. It was really off-putting for some people for that. But it's an excellent game. Combat versus each other, destroying 3 objectives or locations, which now they've introduced into Star Wars, the card game, the deck builder. So you have 3 locations. Once 3 locations is destroyed, then there you go. Which gets me to another game, Destiny, Star Wars Destiny. I have tons of those. Plano boxes filled with dice. That's another game that I didn't have up here that I don't have a visual representation of, because people like to see visual representations. But yeah, I went down the whole. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 of the sets that came out with Star Wars, with Lord of the Rings. I want to say I have 3 or 4 saga sets, which means that you have 1 base box and the 6 extra packs. I actually used another game that I'm going to talk about soon. I used the other box of that to store my other Lord of the Rings cards in, because I had just so many. Funkoverse. This is one of many boxes. You get pretty much one map, which is double-sided. You're using Funko Pops that come with the box. They are actually 2/3 the size of a regular Funko Pop. This one's got Harry Potter and no, it's not. It's Ron Weasley and Draco Malfoy, and you are doing objectives. They have at least 4 different objectives in a basic set. Either capture the flag, or stay in your area, defeat the leader. And this being a standalone, you have 2 guys, but you have also 2 cardboard coins that represent either the House of Snape, or whatever have you, or House of Elderberry. I'm making stuff up. You know what I'm saying? So you actually have two figurines. The main Funko Pops actually have like a cooldown system for their abilities while they're doing their things. If say they're using a wand or using stupefy or something of that nature, Harry Potter, then you take a token of that and place it on a cooldown track, kind of like a video game where it actually has the cooldown. They have, or I have, at least over 40 or 50 figurines because I have most of the base boxes. So there's Batman, there's Harry Potter, Marvel, Jurassic Park, Golden Girls, there's Squid Games. Standalones have Nightmare Before Christmas. Um, um, there's Game of Thrones. I'm trying to look at the box, but now looking over there. Put this over here. Alice in Wonderland and the Red Queen, Peter Pan and Hook, Space Jam, which had Kobe. I want to say Kobe Bryant. Oh no, I don't want to be that person. Bugs Bunny. Yeah, I have a few. Back to the Future. Some of the main characters that they had that were by themselves were Kool-Aid Man, Darkwing Duck. Let's Despicable. No, that's what does he say? Oh my gosh. Let's Get Dangerous. Yeah, something like that. They had Jaws, which came out with Quinn and the shark. They're all interchangeable. I have so many maps, so many different characters, and it's an excellent good time. Along with that, too, talk about miniature combat games. I'm trying not to have you see what I'm going to reveal. Marvel United was a Kickstarter. There's nothing in this box. Kickstarter with basic heroes. They had them on Amazon for the base set, which is pretty much the Avengers and 3 of the villains. And then they came out with the Spider-Verse. Well, not Spider-Verse, but Spider characters. Miles, Ghost Spider instead of Spider-Gwen, and Miles Morales, and the Kingpin, the Green Goblin, and they were in a 2-pack, or two of them, for $20. I want to say. So I bought that, and I bought it for my nephews. Bought it for one of my friends at work. This one is the Asgard. So it's got the figurines. The red ones are usually the villains. If they are purple, then you can use them as villains and heroes. They have 2 different decks of cards. You are playing as the heroes as a deck of cards, placing out locations, using the cards in a story fashion. If you go and you put down movement and a fight, I can place down a card and use a heroic action plus the other actions that you put down, and it goes in that kind of order. Every 3rd card, a villain uses a random card from a deck of cards. So it's a cooperative game versus the villains. You can use any villains versus any heroes versus whatever have you, as long as you have enough cards. Once you run out of cards, the game is over. I hope that beeping wasn't me. Did you hear a beep? I'll hear it later. But since I only bought the core set and the spider thing, I'm waiting for the multiverse that they came out with Captain Carter, which is another character I really like, having Peggy Carter becoming a Captain America type character. Can you see behind me? No, you can't. They're down here. But I have Spider-Man. I have X-Men Gold Team, Red Team. I don't know. I'm looking down there. There's no boxes down there. And they're chock-a-block full of stuff. I'm done with that. But earlier in my acquisition disorder, I watched a video with this man who talked about a dice game where you roll dice and the quiddity allows you to buy other characters, monsters, whatever have you, have them at your location for a little bit, and at the end of a round, once you've done damage to other people's monsters that were in their stay or the castle, I forgot what it was called, your dice would score, and then you have a bag of dice, and you are pulling out so many at a time using the resources. Once you run out of dice in the bag, you take the dice, put them back in the bag, purchasing more dice to put into the bag, that kind of thing. So it's called Quarriors. This is an excellent game. Later on, watch this, kids. All you guys are freaking. I know it is. So you have tons of dice. Each card comes with at least 5. Well, yes, 5 dice of each. But the thing with this game is that I'll talk with another game later. There are 3 different cards. Every time you set up, you are using one of those 3 cards. So you don't know. I mean, if you shuffle really well. The only things that stay the same are the portal and the assistant dice, which help you acquire more dice if you re-roll their sides. And what was the other one? Quiddity dice, which is the blue and white resources that you're going to use to purchase more monsters from the wilds. Then they came out with more expansions. I have pretty much all the expansions except for the one that came out with negative dice or negative quiddity. It was called like the Demons of something or other have you. Later on, they came out with another set, and it was in the $40 range, which was okay. And it's got everything I already have, except, well, the demon dice and stuff like that. They also came out with another standalone. It was an expansion, but it was a standalone version of Quarriors called Light and Dark, which is probably also available to be purchased. But it had chunky dice, big chunky dice that you'd actually roll outside of the dice bag instead of reaching in. And each turn you'd actually roll the dice and stuff like that. Later on, using those same core mechanics, but making it a combat game like Magic the Gathering or World of Warcraft. Dice Masters. Dice Masters came out at AVX, which was Avengers versus X-Men, and it was hard to find. They didn't know what they had on their hands when they came out with it. They're still making Dice Masters that I know of, but I've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes filled with Dice Masters, and also some Plano boxes of some standalone cards. When you wanted to get into this hobby, it was $15 for a 2-player set, which gave enough dice. Don't mind that sound, that's my boiler kicking on. I was hoping I can get this video overdone before it starts kicking in. And then each pack of cards you want to buy had 2 dice and 2 cards. Different rarity, but the dice will actually be the same of the cards. So you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, well, I got a black cat. Well, now you have a black cat card and a black cat die. But if you have enough packs and you have enough dice, you can actually start having a bigger team. This is a collector box. I don't know why they started making campaign boxes, but it's the same box as Quarriors. Originally, Quarriors was in a giant die-shaped tin, and later on they went out with this. So this is what all the other Dice Master card sets look like. They have a top and a bottom, so you can stack your dice in a certain way. Have your cards off to the side. I have extra dice because of my disorder of collecting more dice, but actually the dice that are over here have to do with the dice that are the cards that are in here. Right now, this is the Age of Ultron set that's in this box, but I also have Dungeons and Dragons, Faerun, Saving Faerun, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the animated version, the more comic book version. I have DC. I have Warhammer. Most of the other ones I have, they came out with Deadpool, Spider-Man. Well, Spider-Man dice really didn't come in this box. A Flash and Green Arrow. They just kept on coming out with more stuff, and the campaign boxes now come with enough. I think it's 3 dice each, and usually for a character you can have up to 4 dice for a complete set. To play Dice Masters, you need minimum of 8 characters and 2 basic action cards and 20 dice to be to be distributed amongst your heroes. But if they had, like I have Captain Carter, Dice Master, ultra rare, 1 die to rule them all. So she's only allowed 1 die. She comes with 1 die, so you have her. She's done. Another classic game, a roll and write game, is Railroad Inc. There are 6 different colors. So there's red, blue, yellow, green. Why am I going to say 6 colors? 4 colors. The red and blue are basic sets. They come with dice that you are rolling dice. Everybody's rolling, having their own little set. This is empty. There you go. Oh, look at that. It's magic. You have your own board, and you're rolling the dice to make either train tracks or highway tracks. Highway tracks? Never heard of those. Is that like a parkway and a freeway? Anyway, and then each person they're placing them on their own board. This should be raised up so people can't like cheat off yours, but also these are special abilities that you can use. I believe you can use once, twice each game, but up to 3 maximum. And you are making sure that the road or the track goes from one to another on the opposite side. And the longer the track, you're going to get more points. And the red was fire, so it has like volcanoes or meteorites that are coming down. The water was oceans or lakes and streams. Green was grass, which was a challenge card set. It came with challenge cards, like you can complete this if you want. Well, for extra points. And I can't remember trees. Oh gosh, it's been a while since I played this too. And then I'm coming up on an hour. 59, 51. And bloop, 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 bloop. I know I'm killing the time right now. 1 hour. And then the gold was Amber's Ways of Grain, another challenge thing, but they're all integratable. I also have expansions that they came out with. Sorry about that. I think I just hit my mic. Expansion packs, Pac-Man, UFOs abducting people. I have the Eldridge one where you are creating portals from one place to another, tentacles that are coming out of somewhere to lead from somewhere. There's rules, restrictions on certain ones. There's the underground subway. There's electrical power plants that are, you're trying to collect, or there's houses that you're trying to fulfill their needs and stuff like that. So that's another game I went down and got a bunch of. Elder Sign. Elder Sign is a Yahtzee style game where you're in a there's also Elder Sign Omen if you want to get the digital copy. I think it's still around or still downloadable. You have your investigators and you are in the 1920s, 1930s, Tommy guns and stuff like that. There's elders based on the Cthulhu theme. The elder signs, if you get enough of them, will banish them back to where they came. So make sure you go around from different rooms and making sure you collect enough of them. There is a stack of cards in the game. A lot of these. Okay, so WizKids did the Dice Masters and Warriors. Fantasy Flight did the Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. This is another Fantasy Flight style game in the Arkham Horror universe. So you're placing out the cards, different locations that are inside the Mesopotamian museum of some sort. And then sometimes you'll find portals that will lead to another realm of reality, which will grant you more elder signs, but at the same time will drive you crazy. So with this, I went down the hole of getting all the expansions. I had to get the expansions. So there's one where you're in the desert, one you're in the Ice Age, collecting resources, food, or some kind of thing like that to get enough that you can continue with the journey. I think it's like based on the Mountains of Madness storyline. And there's one for underwater where your ship crashes on a sea or something of that nature. It's just this packed. I also have the other boxes, Unforeseen Forces. There you go, and Omens of Ice, and Omens of the Deep. So there you go. Each one has its own story mode, has its own different cards. You're still using the same dice. They introduce more characters. I also have an expansion where, to make it a little more crazy, your characters actually go insane. And if they die, they actually go insane instead of actually being eliminated, which is bad. Because once all your investigators are eliminated, you lose. If you get enough elder signs before the time runs out, I think you have a couple of days. There's a timer at midnight where things will go wrong. But if you have enough elder signs, you defeat the baddie. If not, then the baddie eats you and you die and game over. This is a controversial game that I'm going to pull out. I have so much of it. Munchkin. Smash up. I have all my Munchkin stuff in here. This elastic band doesn't do much, but keep it on a little bit. All the rule books, all the different nonsense. cards and stuff like that. So I have Munchkin is a collectible trading card game. No, it's not. Now it is, but it wasn't before. You are playing through two different decks. One is the door deck, where you're knocking down doors. You are confronting beasts. You can actually play a cooperative game where you're asking your friends to help you out defeat different monsters. Once the monster's defeated, you can collect the treasure, add it to your character tableau. Tableau is a area of in front of you that contains your cards. Remember, this is a introductory to board games channel ish, and there are different effects that happen. You are pretty much defeating monsters, collecting treasure, knocking on more doors, defeating more monsters, but it's also got a cutthroat ability where if you don't get the level 10 before the other people do, they can actually hinder you by throwing more monsters on the monsters that you have, knocking down you a level or more. And either level is level of your character, how strong they are, or level is actually level of the dungeon that you're on. The first person to reach the 10th level wins. They also have the Marvel, which I have, and the Disney version of Munchkin, also compatible with these. But I have Zombie, I have the basic set, I have Warhammer, I have the Dungeons, which were cards that you can... Yes, they have sleeves big enough for the dungeon cards. Special things that happen during the dungeon effects that will change the rules of the game. What was the other games I have? I have Bitten, which is a vampire-themed version of Munchkin. All are compatible. I have blank cards. You can make your own versions of things. I have dice. I have each set has its own die, which has the character. Oh, where's the thing? Is it over here? No, it's over here. I forgot. I'm using my phone. So all of them have that, but they're all like cool looking. There's also a coin. A coin that if you download the rules, every time you flip the coin during a certain time, oh, you can see my camera. Oh, that's me. This affects the game. There's bookmarkers that you can use once per game to give you bonuses, kind of like metagaming, you know? So everything I have for Munchkin is in this box. Imagine that. Except for the Disney and Marvel, I actually put in their own boxes. I combined them too, I should say. Play that up to at the camping with my nephews. First time they played Munchkin, they were like, "What?" I didn't shuffle very good. I can tell you that. Really, Smash Up, a game where you're taking two different factions, smashing them together, trying to accommodate different bases or taking out bases. Whenever the base number based on the minion number is met, the base breaks, and depending on what the base has for scoring, you get those points. If you get 15 points, you win. So this base, whoever the first person it was, gets 4 points. The second person gets 3 points. The third person gets 2 points. Each base has its own little special ability on the bottom. It says, go back home, collect $200. No, it doesn't say it like that. Different bases have different things. There are so many. I don't have them all. I refuse to buy the Cthulhu, which as a Cthulhu person that I am, it introduces madness, which I've had enough madness in Elder Sign to be enough. Cthulhu themed game. I don't need it in my Munchkin. Get ready. This is full. I took out the Munchkin version of the cards and I put them in my Marvel Munchkins, Marvel setup smash up box, and I also have the Disney smash up in here as well. So I think I have 72 factions in here, and like I said, you're taking two different factions, shuffling them together to create your own set, so you can have alien zombies or wizard ghosts, or I'm using base smash up terminology. This is the Big Geeky Box, which is introduced the geeks, which had popular geeks in the know, which is Will Wheaton, Felicia Day, Comic-Con, whatever kind of thing. That's the only thing I don't like about my videos is the ums. So they actually have another box that's bigger than this. I refuse to buy that, which allows you to have your tokens, which I don't have in this box, rule books, and such, which are in my Marvel smash up box. So another game I love, and it's hard to get to the table. I don't know why. I'm running out of games. It's only an hour and 12 minutes. Another game that I went down a big rabbit hole for is Legendary. This is the Buffy Vampire Legendary box, which I fell in love with. I started buying other Marvel packs of cards to actually go with this. And then they came out with Big Trouble in Little China at the time. I can't remember if it was a Kickstarter or it was just they just came out with it. So I bought that also. So I have Big Trouble in Little China, which is really not compatible because of the cards and the heroes that you use. It says if you're playing Jack and you have Eddie with you, you get XYZ special ability. You can't get around it. You just don't. You have a blank card pretty much if you don't have Eddie with you while you're playing Jack Burton. So with Buffy, I also played this with my sister, and she was amazed that they'd have a game such as this. You are deck building. This is a deck builder game. The rules, but also every time they come out with an expansion, which you can add to any box, I laminate them. So this is Dimensions. Dark City box is the other box I have in all my Lord of the Rings card game LCG. Noir, which introduces 1920s, 1930s version of the different heroes. Shield, if you want more Shield agents or whatever have you, this and that. The New Mutants was the first one I bought for Buffy because with New Mutants, it introduces light and dark. And I thought that was so thematic for Buffy because Buffy version of Legendary, there's a dark and light track. Depending on if there's dark side, you have Buffy can do certain abilities, or Willow has certain abilities if it's on the dark side. If it's on the light side, then you can do other abilities. Spike can do a certain ability or whatever have you. With the Sun and Moon variant, if the numbers of your heroes in your row at the headquarters or the library, depending on what you're playing, um, equal are all positive or what do they call it? Divisible by 2. Equal numbers. Evens. Yes, if they're evens, uh, then that's the sun up. If they're odds or mostly odds, then it's the sun down version or the moon version or the moon abilities. So the New Mutants introduced that story or that rules. Doctor Strange, which I have in the What If box. He's gone. Where did he go? What If core set, which is if you were just starting for Legendary, this is a nice thing to have. The actual, I'm opening it. Imagine that. The rules. This is open, or this is full, but it also comes with the player mat. This is the first Marvel playmat that I actually have, because when I was playing with the Marvel characters in Buffy, I was using that rule set, and it threw off one of my friends, who actually threw my friend Tim off a little bit because it wasn't thematic. And he's not familiar with Big Trouble in Little China, even though he's watched it. It still threw him off. Now I actually have Marvel characters and Marvel sets of rules. Annihilation. All these are laminated. They all fit in the Buffy box. Let me show you what's in the Buffy box, because that's full. The Big Trouble in Little China box is full. There's some space left in the What If box, but I think I'm done collecting for Legendary unless they come up with something cool. It comes with tokens, because if you go above the light side, you get a token. Tokens can be used to actually change your purchasing or your recruit power or your fight power. That also comes with its own playmat. The Big Trouble in Little China I had to buy separately, I believe, or it doesn't fit in the box. The Big Trouble in Little China box is smaller, more compact, but it's still filled with cards. All right. Paper. I've done Magic, Heroescape, Smash Up, Star Wars, X-Wing, Destiny, Funkoverse, HeroClix, Ashes, Dice Masters, Smash Up, Lord of the Rings, Lost Legacy, Star Wars LCG, games that I will not buy, even if you had a gun to my head, which I want, but I don't need because XYZ. Here we go. Marvel Legendary. Marvel Legendary. Uh-oh. Don't pan me for that. Don't block me for that. Marvel Champions. You are playing heroes, decks of heroes versus cards. Blah, 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 blah. You are playing heroes at a set of cards to defeat a villain. You can take random versions, well, not random versions, different variations, leader or tank or something of that nature, and shuffle it into the cards of the hero to create a different version of that hero. So you can have Spider-Man as a leader of your team, or you can have him as a tank of your team or something of that nature, you know? Well, I've got 2 games that do that for me with either the Funkoverse. I can have that. Somebody's being a villain. I have Thanos, which I didn't mention. Thanos, you can have one person playing as Thanos with all the gems and kicking a number of characters' butts. I have the Marvel United. So even if you're playing solo, you have 3 different heroes that you're shuffling your deck of cards, and you have one boss, and the boss is doing its own thing. So that's why I don't want to go down that road for Marvel Champions. Marvel Protocol, which was a skirmish mode, Marvel characters that I don't see a lot of buzz for unless you're in the Marvel miniatures hobby. I have the hero clicks for that. That, all the bases have things. Um, um, just a couple other LCGs that are card games that I can think of. Flesh and Blood that everybody talks about. I've got enough card games, but thank you anyway. I should have wrote them down. Did I write them down? I think I did. Star Wars Armada. I'm not. Star Wars Unlimited, which is another card game that they came out with, a Magic the Gathering style. You are battling, and then you can use your character to flip over. You're taking a card, randomly using it as a resource. It sounds like World of Warcraft, a trading card game. Destroy 3 bases, and thing. I have that with Star Wars the card game. Have a faction of your type, either scum, villainy, Sith, Empire, Jedi, light side. There's 6 different factions right there. There's another faction I'm thinking of in Star Wars the card game. But yeah, you're battling each other for dominance over 3 different locations. Unmatched, another game that I really like, but collecting all of it and then having enough space for it because they're miniatures. I can do that with the Funkoverse. Star Wars, the deck building game. I've got a game called Hero Thingy and Star Realms, Hero Realms, and Star Realms. They're deck builders and stuff like that. I also have it's not up here. Ascension. Oh, did you hear that? You can see that. Ascension. Oh no. I dropped something. Another game I went down there. Oh yeah. I don't know how it slipped my mind. Spirit Island. Spirit Island. I almost have every expansion of that thing because I love Spirit Island. I have most of thank you for stopping in, that one person. I saw one for one person. And I want more. There's a new expansion just came out, but I don't have one of the other expansions. I have Branch and Claw. I have the Lightning and Fire one. I have Horizons, which I mixed in with regular Spirit Island because of the spirits. Stay up there. No, that is not based on the Heroes TV show. It's a card game, battling game on a chess style board. I've never played it yet. Flesh and Blood, Marvel Champions, blah, blah, blah. That's it. Thanks for stopping by. If you found this video entertaining, like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment below of what a game you have that you've collected and then you had to have everything of it. That kind of thing. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Latest.